when Imperial Japan marched into China. They thought victory was certain. It was a gross miscalculation.
广泛地发动人民群众。
If they had defeated China, the entire character of the war in the world would have been very, very different.
爱国官兵体现了血战到底的抗战精神。
We retrace the journey of the Chinese people's war of resistance against Japanese aggression.
These are bullet holes.
We uncover hidden stories and revisit key sites to reveal why, even when the odds were stacked against China, on this main eastern battlefield of World War II,
the Japanese have gotten themselves into a war they cannot win.
China's earliest resistance began in year 1931. On September 18th, in the northeastern Chinese city of Shenyang, Japanese troops detonated explosives on a rail line they already controlled, then pinned blame on Chinese soldiers. It was nothing more than a pretext for invasion. Within just 4 months, they had taken 1.28 million square kilometers of China's northeast, also called Manchuria at the time, an opening act of the global fight against fascism.
The Japanese invasion of Manchuria in 1931, or the Italian invasion of Ethiopia in 1935, or the expansion of Germany in the late 1930s, those individual wars eventually get combined into a world war.
After the September 18th incident, a commission of foreign investigators checked into this hotel in Shenyang. They were sent by the League of Nations, the predecessor to today's United Nations, to investigate whether Japan's actions constituted aggression. But what the investigators didn't know was that the stage had already been set. The aides by their side, handpicked. The crime scene, carefully arranged. Even the concerned Chinese citizens protesting outside their hotel, all part of a choreographed script by Japan.
It was clear, if things went on like this, the truth will never see the light of day.
That's when a group of Chinese civilians undertook a daring clandestine operation. We went to their base to recreate part of their true story. Inside this community center not far from where the commission was staying, a group of women sat around an organ and were sharing thoughts on music. But the calm was only surface deep. Suddenly, several agents working for Japan stormed in. At the organ, one woman kept playing. But with barely a pause, she shifted into a melody she had long rehearsed for this very moment. Down in the basement, 9 men sprang into action, quickly gathering piles of photographs, government documents, and files. The men also had cards up their sleeves to evade the agents. This was the spot where, constantly under the threat of Japanese detection, they secretly gathered every shred of evidence they had risked their lives to collect. All of it went into a plain cloth bag, stitched with one word in English: truth. Then, through a trusted foreign friend, they smuggled it into the hands of the League of Nations Commission. These 9 intellectuals were led by Communist Party member Gong Tianmin.
这9个人呢，他们都有正当的职业，又有每个人的亲笔签名，虽然这个签名呢，可以说是把自己签到了一个死亡簿上，但是呢，他们这样有英文的说明，有英文的目录，而且又有国际友人作为背书，这样呢，作为国联调查团报告书的一个法律依据，是这个比较完备的。
On February 24, 1933, the League of Nations voted 42-1. Japan had violated international law.
Found that the Japanese occupation of this large part of China was not justified on the ground of self-defense.
In response, Japan became the first country to withdraw from the League. When Japan learned of the 9 patriots' deeds, the men paid a heavy price. 8 of them were captured and tortured, but not one yielded before they were released. The Chinese later came to know them as the 9 Gentlemen of Shenyang.
我们现在看到的就是国际上有关于9·18事变的一些报道，像有德国、有苏联、有美国、比利时。那当时他们实际上对这个事件是谴责的，但是采取的却是绥靖政策，也就助长了日本法西斯的侵略气焰。
Imperial Japan labeled its aggression in northeast China merely as an incident. But for the Chinese people, this was war. Armed forces against the occupation emerged almost immediately. Their fight would last 14 years until the end of World War II, becoming the longest continuous armed resistance of the entire conflict.
日本方面的材料就承认，在这40年期间，东北抗日联军一共消灭了17.2万日本人，死和伤，俘在内。
The September 18th incident of 1931 marked the start of China's 14-year war of resistance against Japan. Soon, the flames of war would spread across the rest of the country. The Great Wall, China's most iconic military stronghold through the ages.
This isn't the typical sections of the Great Wall that tourists visit. It's much more rugged. These are bullet holes.
In early 1933, Japanese forces pushed south from China's northeast.
中国军队装备落后，只有少量的炮兵，大部分都是步兵。而这个日军呢，不仅人员多，同时他有这个飞机、装甲车以及重炮部队。
Outgunned, the Chinese forces resisted as they gradually fell back. But on one lonely hilltop, a handful of young men made a different choice. From a battered outpost, they turned the rugged terrain to their advantage. Soldiers from the 8th Division of the Imperial Japanese Army launched a charge. But the Chinese held the line for hours. That prompted the enemy to resort to heavy artillery and airstrikes. When the smoke cleared, the Japanese climbed the ridge. What they saw left them stunned. Just 7 Chinese soldiers. Overall, China's resistance at this Gubei section of the Great Wall was fierce and brutal.
中国军队以1.2万人的巨大牺牲，毙伤日军5000多人，广大爱国官兵，体现了血战到底的抗战精神。
The brutality of the invasion and heroism of the defenders ignited a fire in Tianhan, a communist playwright living in Shanghai. In 1935, he channeled that fury into a new script, and in it, he wrote these words: "With our flesh and blood, let us build our new Great Wall." The words were powerful on their own, but it was the fact that they were carried not as a speech or an article, but a song that gave them the power to sweep across the country.
In this mansion in Shanghai, the cast came together to form a makeshift choir. Here, they recorded a song that would echo through history, March of the Volunteers.
The song became an instant hit in China. American singer and civil rights icon Paul Robeson performed the song in New York in near-perfect Chinese. The person who helped Robeson master the pronunciation.
这位是您的祖父刘良模。
他们两个人就是一见如故。因为《义勇军进行曲》的名字，你就把它翻译成英文比较长嘛。Paul Robeson就把这个歌就叫起来。其实《义勇军进行曲》最关键的就是这两个字“起来”。不但中国人民需要起来，奋起抗击日本的帝国主义的侵略，全世界人民都面临着日本军国主义和德国法西斯的这样一个侵略啊、压迫。起来，起来，起
来。At the time, the song's lyricist Tian Han could hardly have known that just over a decade later, this very song would become the national anthem of the People's Republic of China. In 1937, Japan launched a larger-scale invasion of China and brought the war to Shanghai, the international metropolis. Buoyed by their victories in the north, Japan anticipated China's resistance to melt away. But instead, Shanghai turned out to be a major battle.
A lot of Japanese leaders believed that the rest of China would be just as simple, that all Chinese were disorganized and would fall into play, totally miscalculating not only the will of the Chinese people, but also the intensity with which there would be a resistance.
Japan claimed they'd conquer China in 3 months, but they fought for nearly that long just to take Shanghai.
When the Chinese finally prepared to withdraw from central Shanghai, a small force was stationed in this warehouse to make a symbolic last stand.
给我父亲的任务呢，就是守1个礼拜，至少1个礼拜。后面一句呢叫能守多久守多久。
On one side of this river, foreign businessmen and journalists in the international settlement remained untouched by the Japanese army. But from their windows, they watched as bombs rained down on the other side, witnessing China's resistance and casting it into the global spotlight.
It was a terrible surprise to the Japanese how ferocious the Chinese resistance was.
And meanwhile, the resistance, and especially the anger and the violence with which the Japanese were first greeted, unfortunately made the Japanese even more vicious as they moved inland. And so when they arrived in Nanjing in December 1937, for them at that point it was going to be full conquer, full all-out slaughter.
When Japan finally captured the then capital city of Nanjing, they took out that frustration with unspeakable violence.
The massacre went, as you know, went on for weeks and weeks. A game of sport on the front pages of Japanese newspapers. How many people have you killed today?
Over 300,000 Chinese were slaughtered. And to this day, some Japanese politicians and right-wing groups still deny or downplay the massacre.
An American missionary named John McGee filmed the footage you just saw. It remains one of the only surviving video chronicles of the Nanjing massacre. These shot lists that McGee typed out in 1937 were later obtained from the Yale University archive in America. Film 4, shot number 9. On December 13th, about 30 soldiers came to a Chinese house. Mrs. Xia was dragged out from under a table. After being stripped and raped by one or more men, she was bayoneted in the chest and then had a bottle thrust into...
The paragraph went on to describe in graphic detail the murder of nearly an entire family.
The soldiers then bayoneted another sister of between 7 and 8, who was alone in the room. After being wounded, the 8-year-old girl crawled to the next room, where lay the body of her mother. Here she stayed for 14 days.
That 8-year-old girl, Xia Shuqin, is now 96 years old.
从进来一大批日本兵，就杀死我们家9个人，杀死了7个。
All her life, she stood up to those who put out false narratives of the Nanjing massacre, filing lawsuits and giving interviews. Now in old age, her eyes have dimmed, but her determination hasn't.
这里80年了，今年80年了，但是我还想讲。
She said her one remaining wish is to see Japan's national leaders visit the memorial hall in Nanjing.
我当年80岁，我现在活了96岁了，然后还能再活了？不能了。到现在都不来，都80年了，还不来。
She's also grateful for John McGee, who later testified at the post-war military tribunal.
What is your name?
John Gillespie McGee. The killing began immediately, often by individual Japanese soldiers, or up to 30 soldiers together going about, each one seeming to have the power of life or death.
Partly thanks to his testimony, Japanese Army General Iwane Matsui was sentenced to death by hanging.
Because of evidence that was then brought to the international light through John McGee's records, it's become largely known. So how can some in the Japanese government continue to deny this? I cannot answer that question. It astounds me.
In the early stages of the all-out war, the Chinese army kept strategically retreating to the hinterland, knowing they were outgunned. It seemed victory was certain for Japan, but a turning point was coming.
(1938), a small village in Jiangxi province. The locals had grown uneasy. Over the past few days, they had noticed a few strange, quiet men dressed like monks and Taoists emerging from the nearby woods.
Something felt off.
When villagers reported it to the Chinese Army's local command post, the lead officer immediately understood. Those were Japanese scouts sent ahead of a coming attack.
This is a bullet from a Japanese rifle.
In 1938, Japan was pushing deeper into China, setting its sight on Wuhan, the wartime capital after the fall of Nanjing. Fierce battles raged across these hills some 200 kilometers from Wuhan. Even today, traces of that fight remain. Decades of villagers combing the land still haven't cleared it all.
你看，你看，你看，什么东西？这就是我都不用费力都可以把它找出来。
这是日本的3八大盖，这是完整的，看到没有
？Buried in 1938, excavated in 2025. It's not even fired.
多的是啊！我们原来就是随随便便掏几个就上学去了。
This villager then showed us his personal collection.
这个是
刺刀，
对，
这是装在日军的枪上的吗？
对，这个带个钩子了，你看吧。
The Battle of Wuhan dragged on for 4.5 long months. The biggest fight of the whole war. Back then, many villagers developed mysterious leg illnesses. They called it winter melon foot. It turned out they had come into contact with lingering poison on nearby plants. The Japanese army, in a rush to break through Chinese defenses, had resorted to chemical weapons. The last known victim, Cai Chunhua, passed away in 2024.
就是个头血我在脚上啊，跟着老有头血啊。
年发，每个月基本上都要发一次。人发烧、发高烧、脚就肿，从那以后了，基本上不能起床。一般都是1个礼拜以后，不光是我父亲一个人，有很多人。
In these hills, the Chinese army made up for its lack of firepower with tactics, sheer numbers, and superior knowledge of the terrain.
Fighting in and out of trenches like this, the Chinese army almost wiped out an entire Japanese division. A major victory in the Battle of Wuhan.
But as Japanese attacks intensified, the Chinese army eventually withdrew, allowing Japan to take Wuhan in the end. However,
日本呢，并没有达到他攻占武汉、迫使国民政府投降的这种目的的。武汉会战的外围战呢，为武汉呢这个大迁移赢得了时间。比如说一些工厂啊，一些战略物资的这个转移，包括群众的转移到大西南啊，重庆那一带。
Instead of a clear-cut victory to celebrate, a grim reality loomed over the minds of Japan's military leaders.
The prospect opened up before them, a very unpleasant prospect of having to fight a prolonged war in the whole of China, which is a huge country.
So the promise that Japan would win a quick victory, conquer China, and have all the resources of China at its disposal proved very difficult.
After Wuhan, the war raged on. From Nanchang to Changsha, from Hengyang to countless others, a brutal series of battles between China and Japan was still to come.
The Japanese have gotten themselves into a war they cannot win. They won't admit that to themselves, but they are finally sort of realizing it at Wuhan. This is going to be, from this point on, a protracted war. So the whole nature of the war changes.
In fact, Japan was no longer able to capture Chongqing, the next wartime capital. An important factor that doomed its ambition actually came from behind the front lines. It was a gloomy late afternoon on August 23, 1940, at a train station deep inside Japan-occupied territory of northern China. Being a key hub on an important rail line, it was operated by the Japanese military. Not far in the distance, a team of some 30 Japanese soldiers walked into view. But the station master must have felt surprised, as he had not received any prior notice of the group's arrival. These men were, in fact, not Japanese soldiers, but Chinese in disguise. Yet, they were not part of the frontline nationalist army either.
They were communist soldiers who had formed a united front with the nationalists to jointly resist the Japanese invasion.
With a battle cry from the approaching group's leader, they opened fire on the perplexed Japanese officers at the station in close range. A surprise attack that took the station. The fake Japanese team leader who devised the unorthodox assault plan was Fanzi Xia, a brigade commander of the 8th Route Army led by the Communists.
This old oil lamp and this writing brush both belong to Commander Fan. Together, they gave us a glimpse into what it was like working behind enemy lines.
八路军在敌后抗战工作中啊，面对强大的敌人和恶劣的环境，经常在深夜的时候，在油灯下研究军事地图，制定作战计划。
The attack he led was part of a major offensive by the Communists in August 1940, which destroyed over 400 kilometers of railway and 1,500 kilometers of highway controlled by Japan.
中国共产党广泛地发动人民群众，我们人民群众积极地支前参战，阳泉的广大的矿工，以及铁路工人、群众、农民都参与到这场破路行动当中来。
Some 200,000 fighters across 105 regiments of the 8th Route Army fought in the offensive. This battle would go down in history as the 100 Regiments Campaign.
Unlike the nationalist army, the communist forces preferred guerrilla tactics, especially in the countryside, a strategy that relentlessly haunted the Imperial Japanese Army.
In the countryside, the Japanese are never really able to establish control in the country. They can control the cities, they can control the railroads and the roads between the cities.
They forced Japan to have to garrison the whole of the occupied region. The only way that China could be effective was to make the Japanese fight for every square inch of China, which is way beyond the ability of Tokyo to do.
所以呢，日本人呢在前方正面战场，他始终处在兵力不足的处境上。日本人曾经想2次都想把重庆拿下来，但是这样他在前方的供应、军队、援兵都不能保证。
These guerrilla campaigns, driven by the power of the masses deep behind enemy lines, became a crucial force in wearing Japan down. Throughout the war, there were 19 base areas founded and led by the Communist Party of China, covering nearly 1 million square kilometers. To the Japanese invaders, every one of China's 450 million people could now be a potential foe.
Mao Zedong is famous for having brought up this concept of protracted war. Actually, both of those leaders, the nationalist leaders and the communist leaders, had made this realization.
By this time in 1940, the world had fully waken up to the threat of fascism. Nazi Germany swept through France, and Britain was on the brink. Germany, Italy, and Japan sealed their alliance. In less than a year, Nazi Germany would invade the Soviet Union, albeit without the direct help of Japan, which was still preoccupied with China.
Had they been able to defeat China, an attack on the Soviet Union, on the eastern part of the Soviet Union, would have been the most attractive option for the Japanese. If the Soviet Union is fighting Germany in the west and Japan in the east, it would make a gigantic difference.
The Jap column was forced to run the gauntlet of continuous attack by the pursuing Chinese forces.
China's role within the Allied powers grew increasingly significant, both through its direct resistance against Japan in Asia and by indirectly easing the pressure on the Allies in Europe. Throughout the war, China drew steady support from Soviet and American pilots, Indian and Canadian medical teams, and countless champions of justice. On the other hand, Chinese forces fought shoulder to shoulder with the Allies on the very same battlefields. Among their efforts was the joint construction of a vital supply route linking India to China through Burma, today's Myanmar. Then came a day in December 1944. A Japanese Type 97 medium tank positioned itself in the middle of this road, which was still under construction. It opened fire on every transport truck that came near. For a while, no one knew what to do. That was until a Chinese soldier named Deng Zhonghua did the unthinkable. He drove a US-made 10-wheel army truck straight into the tank at full speed. Both vehicles plunged off the cliff together. It became one of the rarest moments in modern warfare, a truck taking out a tank. But the question remains, why was the road being built so dangerously close to the front lines? This story starts with the year 1941. Japan attacked Pearl Harbor and brought the war to the wider Asia-Pacific region. That created a new problem for China, whose only remaining land logistics routes went through Burma.
The Japanese military basically occupied all the major ports in China, and then in the beginning of 1942 stopped the Burma Road to allow import of material from Burma. So it was very, very difficult for the United States to send a lot of military supplies to China.
So China sent an expedition into Burma in 1942. It was, however, not fighting alone, but together with locals as well as American and British forces. That same year, 26 nations, including China, Britain, the United States, and the Soviet Union, signed the Declaration by United Nations, marking the formal birth of the global anti-fascist alliance. The Chinese Expeditionary Force carried out a series of significant campaigns, rescuing some 7,000 stranded British soldiers in Yan'an in 1942, and later, alongside American forces, capturing the strategic stronghold of Myitkyina in 1944. But beyond that, one of China's most vital goals was to ensure the building of a new supply route.
That route is the road I'm walking on right now. It's called the Stilwell Road.
It takes its name from Joseph Stilwell, commander of the US forces in the China-Burma-India theater. This area is very close to Myanmar. We talked to border police Zheng Libin, who has grown familiar with the road's story over the years.
那我们所说的史迪威公路，其实是从印度的雷多到中国昆明的一条战略公路，全长有1700多公里。它是从1942年开始修建，直到1945年初才全线打通。
Though the U.S. airdropped several bulldozers to help, most of the work was still done the hard way, manually.
我们经常是前方还在进行激烈的交火，后方就已经开始动工了。因此，它有一种说法叫做“仗打到哪里，公路都修到哪里”。
It was eventually dubbed a man-a-mile road.
This is an American-made 10-wheel army truck that once rumbled along the road. Tough enough to take on a tank if it had to.
Following the Stilwell Road's opening in early 1945, trucks carried more than 50,000 tons of supplies from India to China, sustaining China's resistance until on September 2nd, 1945, aboard the USS Missouri, Japan formally signed the instrument of surrender, capitulating to the Allied powers, including China, the US, the UK, and the Soviet Union.
China has a very big contribution, but it's one that is often overlooked in the West in particular. But the fact is that the great majority of Japanese soldiers are not fighting the Americans in the Pacific. The great majority of Japanese soldiers are fighting in China.
To be more precise, throughout the war, more than 1.5 million Japanese troops were killed, wounded, or captured in the China theater alone. By the end, over 1 million more surrendered here, more than half of Japan's total capitulation.
而且中国的反法西斯战争坚持了14年，坚持时间最长，开展时间最早。那么这一点对世界各国是有动员作用的，尤其是对于殖民地半世殖民国家的反法西斯斗争有支援作用。
That's an enormous part of the Allied victory, no doubt about it.
The original truth document bag used by the 9 gentlemen of Shenyang was found to be stored in the United Nations Library in Geneva. In 2017, Chris McGee, grandson of John McGee, retraced his grandfather's filming route through Nanjing as a photographer, continuing a legacy of remembrance and friendship.
好人多哎，好人多。
This section of the Stilwell Road leads to the China-Myanmar border, where China's immigration police routinely patrol, stepping on a road that continues to play a protective role for the people. The song March of the Volunteers became China's national anthem, a symbol of the nation's enduring spirit. More than 80 years later, it still beats in the heart of the nation. For at its core, it remains a call for justice that has echoed through time. An echo from the main eastern battlefield of World War II.